Now, I have not been holding strong to that. And this is what I know that's
Hmm.
going to make y'all mad because I'm the digital real estate guy. I'm the monetize your life guy, right?
Hmm.
I've been learning, I've been leading, I've been coaching, but I haven't put out the buy buttons that are the income producing activities like I know
Hmm.
they are. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better. So, Rob, once we get past all of the smoke, ultimately, everything's about income producing activities.
Hmm.
Everything else is B freaking S. Now, you can fight me on this,
Yeah.
but in this episode, I want us to jump right into what you were talking about a little bit on these focus days, but then making sure as you look at your days
Hmm.
that they're income producing activities, IPAs. No,
Yeah.
that's not beer, y'all.
Yeah. 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 No, so like I was telling you, right? Even coaches have coaches. I have my coach. I went and saw him a couple weeks ago. And the one thing that I learned in that session was, structuring my time as an entrepreneur and focusing certain days on certain things. And you said this a number of times, income producing activities. And one of the activities that I went through when I was learning this, which was really cool for me, and I think it will be helpful for some of the entrepreneurs, was understanding what about what you do is income producing. Because I used to hear you say that all the time. I'm like, yes, income producing activities, it makes perfect sense. It definitely, but
Yes.
I got all this other stuff to do. So
Yes.
I'm gonna get busy on this, and I hit you back on income producing activities, income generating activities. And the issue that I always ran into was I didn't know what I did that actually produced income, right? And so technically I did know, but it feels like so little of what you do, at least that was my experience. It feels like so little of what I do that I'm like, I can't just focus on that. And so this gave me the
That
opportunity to
seems
realize that
unproductive, doesn't it?
it seems like product. And even now, right? Like, so what I realized was what you really want to do is you want to set aside focus time for those income producing activities, and you want to continue increasing how much you do, how many of those days you have. What a lot of people try to do is they try to do income producing activities all the time. Then you realize you have way more time than you have income producing activities to do.
That's a good point.
And that feels very defeating when you're trying to be like, I'm gonna be all about this and I'm just doing income producing activities. And you got like four people to talk to. And it's like, okay, it's Monday at 12 o'clock and I have no more income producing activities to do in my business. And that was my experience a lot. And so what I realized was you got to look at the things that you do and break it down and say, all right, what are the three most important things you need to do in your business to generate income? That's where
Yeah.
you start. You don't
Yeah.
start with trying to fill your whole day. You figure out what are the three most important things. So for my business, three most important things that I do. Number one, I do my delivery. So I coach or I teach or I speak or I do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So those things can go on my focus days, my income generating activity days.
Yes. Yes.
The second thing that I do that's income producing is that I am doing either sales or prospecting. So I am doing sales calls, i.e., I'm talking to someone, offering them something. This is distinct from doing networking. This is distinct from just talking to people and catching up with them. This is specifically a call that is designed to generate a sale, right? And then the second piece of it, if I'm doing prospecting or if I'm doing kind of nurturing, I'm talking to people that I think are going to close in the next 90 days. I'm talking to people that I think are going to close sometime this year. And
Yeah.
then
I
the
love it.
last
I love
thing
that
is,
perspective right there that
right,
you said.
that thing for me was actually game changing, right? So in looking at that, it allowed me to categorize the interactions that I have because I used to have it. And, I've run multiple businesses and I've run this business for 6 years now. And I used to just always, everybody that I talked to was in some state of eventually possibly being a client.
Yeah.
But I didn't differentiate and I didn't kind of treat people differently because this person is ready to be a client, this person isn't. I would give of my time freely. And one of the things, right, this is where it was difficult because all conversations, all lunch meetings, and all video meetings are not the same. And we have to be very intentional about where people are so that we know what type of energy to bring to that meeting. Some meetings, all I'm doing is talking to you and seeing what's going on and asking what's up in your life or whatever the case may be. Some meetings, I'm not even thinking about offering any of my services. Some meetings, I'm just talking to people and saying, hey, I know somebody that you need to talk to. Let me set up a meeting or let me set an introduction. You have to be able to differentiate between those people. I think for me, that was the hardest thing because I know you used to talk about all the time. You used to be like, here's income producing. You got to be doing income producing activities. And I would get frustrated because I was like, I knew what it meant intellectually. I got it, but I was like, it's not working for me. So like, what were some of the things that you did? Yeah, what were some of the things that you did to help you like know and differentiate as you've been going through business? What were your income producing activities?
Yeah, for me personally, y'all, it was what is the thing that allowed me to have the kind of life that I want? Right? I don't like to be bothered. I don't like, activities that I gotta fulfill in person, one-on-one, because in essence, that's still a trading time for money. So what I found was if I am doing more research on what's new, stripping out the business model, and now get this, and this is gonna make you mad, y'all. If y'all listen to this and hit the subscribe, comment on this. I got a code, y'all, so I'm trying to, but this is gonna make you mad. Rob, I've got probably 27 videos that are all buy buttonable videos teaching something. I've got, that drive people in, that my income producing activity. It wasn't the creating of the thing. It was the putting of the thing out there. Now, this is how I rate out, right? In the lover, learner, leader, doer activity, I'm leader and learner. Doer, not so much.
Yep.
So I literally, and I'm telling you probably for the last 10 years, I said, I just need to hire a doer. Just somebody that comes along and says, hey, what's that? And then I go, well, oh, that's so-and-so. And then they go, well, let me get it and let me go put it over here. Literally. Because those for me were the income generating activities that I did some, but not all. Now I'm sitting on all these videos that now time has passed. So me kind of getting ahead of the market, reasonably past. I like to make things as evergreen as possible, right? So that they still kind of are relevant. But every time I put them out, people were like, oh my God, I've never seen this. Is awesome. So I'm kind of going, shit, I should have put it out a long time ago. I could have snuck up on some people. But that's the part for me that was missing. But what I do know is that's everything, right? And this is something that Ryan Dice, I went to one of his little, free deals, whatever. And he's got this ladder. He's got this little approach. And I put it up on my calendar back here. It's called the Customer Journey Lead Nurture Conversion something, right? And he talks about in the left-hand bottom corner, that awareness. Then he talks about stage 2, the engagement, content, blogs, newsletter, blah, blah, blah. Stage 3, subscription, demo, webinars, workshops. And it's so simple. Now, of course, he's making millions and millions of dollars using this very simple approach. Now, I have not been holding strong to that. And this is what I know that's going to make y'all mad, because I'm the digital real estate guy. I'm the monetize your life guy, right? I've been learning, I've been leading, I've been coaching, but I haven't put out the buy buttons that are the income producing activities like I know they are. Literally, just last week I started. I put out a couple of webinars and oh my gosh, they're on fire.
Exactly. And I think that point, I think, for a lot of entrepreneurs, you'll find that the stuff that is not income producing will suck at it will pull at your time. Like it is the stuff 9 times out of 10 that is actually more fun, that you're more interested in doing in the business. And for me, right, like even the concept of just categorizing people, a lot of times I would have meetings after meetings after meetings after meetings, and none of them would actually turn into a conversation about my business and me offering. But that was because none of those meetings were actually in the group of people. Like, I didn't intentionally say, who are the group of people that I could meet with that will probably need me in the next 90 days? I just set meetings by whoever was available to set a meeting with. And just in changing that focus, right? We've made 2 sales in the last 2 weeks, just in changing the focus of who am I putting on my calendar? Who am I talking to? Who am I doing that with? And I think that's something that for you entrepreneurs that are out there, if you can just look at your calendar, and again, it doesn't have to be every day. Don't James Clear, Atomic Habits, one thing he talks about is if you're trying to change habits, you don't want to try to change your whole life in 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
You just want to
It's not gonna stick.
add on habits to things that already work. So if you have a day that is your kind of call people day, or that is your whatever it is, if it's your go out into the marketplace, if you own a food truck or whatever, and you're selling in that week or whatever it is that you do, what you want to do is just add on to that day.
I love that.
A timeline for you to assess who are the people that you need to talk to most to get to, like, in the next 90 days to get sales or to get revenue or profits generated. Like, what do you need to do? What are the activities if it's like Randy and he needs to be putting things out onto the web, right? What's 1 or 2 activities that he needs to do every Tuesday, come hell or high water, to make sure that this is done, right? Because if you can start doing that consistently over time, it's generating more revenue, which then gives you more of the reward center that you need to keep doing it.
And here's something, and as we wrap this up, here's something interesting, Rob. One of the main checkoffs for me with doing podcasts, first of all, was never, now I'm switching it now, but it was never to be a YouTuber. I want, millions of dollars. That wasn't it for me. I can tell you, and now that I've achieved this thing, I can look back on it and says it was developing the consistency muscle. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Will I, for 90 episodes, show up? And who talks about this? They talk about, I know Noah Kagan talks about this. He talked about it in his new book. He says, do something 100 times. No matter what, 100 times before you quit.
Yep.
100 times, y'all. So now here's the beautiful thing about content, producing content, is that it can now be taken, shaped, put back out in a different format. Information put differently can make you rich.
Yes.
I was telling somebody the other day, they were like, I'm putting in all this work. I said, I'm only getting a few views. I said, that's not the game. The game is, will you show up despite the fact? I said, because once one hits, it's an avalanche.
Exactly.
People go and say, oh my gosh, what else do they have? Or they get, into seeing your early days and how you stunk, whatever it is. But if you got to get those reps in, y'all. You've got to figure out what is that activity that you could do over and over again, right? Like our guy, Alex Hormozy, says, I'm willing to do this 10 years. Didn't take him 10 years. It took him less than 2 to get 2 million of somehow subscribers.
Yes, stupid
he was
numbers.
Willing to do it 10 years. And we say, hey, look, this ain't working. I got to bounce. So stop that. Continue on. Get to those, like Rob is saying, figure out what would lead me to income.
Yeah.
What would more than likely lead me to income? And don't fool yourself. Don't say, well, this video is going to do it, and it's never done it before, unless you say this video put differently, put in a course format, broken up into da-da-da-da-da. I anticipate that it will. You put it out there, you test it to see if it did it. If it didn't, it's fired.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it, to the end of that is take some time, take 10 minutes. Like, it doesn't take a lot of time, but take 10 minutes and think. The question you want to ask yourself is this: what is the thing that happens right before I make money? What is the thing that happens right before I make money? If it's a phone call, if it's a proposal, if it's a if it's the click of post on a campaign, if it's the click confirm on a webinar, whatever it is, what's the thing that happens before I make money? And on your income producing hours or your income producing days, you need to be making sure that you're doing that thing in those times. That may be once a week. That may be once a month. Like, some of y'all might need to start it just doing it once a month, twice a month. But to make sure that on those days you are doing the income producing activity, because as that compounds, as you get closer to your 100 times, now you're good at it, and it becomes a habit.
And then you can do these other things, like I've been doing the webinars. What happens before? Here's what I found. People says, I want to buy from you. That's what I keep hearing, because they say, you seem pretty real. you talk in a way, and you do these movements, and you say stuff like, "Oh my gosh," or little things, and they says, I hear it all the time. Even when I was younger, people would says, "You've got a very believable face," or "You just come off like, you know what, not salesy, not schmarmy, and all that kind of stuff, right?" So why wouldn't I do more of that?
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
definitely.
my goal, is to do more of that. So you will see me everywhere coming
There we
going
go.
forward. All right, everybody, that's it.
Awesome. All right,
Let's
everybody,
talk
have a
again
good
next
one.
week.